Straight ahead on CCX News, something disappearing at Crystal intersections. City officials say it's helping drivers to stop and be more cautious. Plus, local police departments have tried cracking down on it for years, but are drivers getting the message? What new numbers reveal about texting and driving? But first, local lawmakers bring back the gun safety debate. CCX News starts right now.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Minnesota's gun laws are back on the front burner at the state capitol. A local state senator is once again pushing legislation that he says are common sense steps to save lives. Eric Nelson joins us now with more. Hi, Eric.
Hey Shannon, DFL Senator Ron Latz is behind the effort to foster these changes. Latz reintroduced two bills today at the Capitol, similar to laws he tried to get approved in the past. Now the first one is the Extreme Risk Protection Orders Bill, which lets law enforcement and family members get a court order to restrict someone's access to guns if there are red flags in their background. The second bill extends criminal background checks to most private sales, gun show markets, and online transactions. Changing gun laws can be a monumental task, but Latz is confident these will get enough support to pass.
If you are a law-abiding gun owner and you don't have a prohibited criminal history, you really have nothing to worry about from these bills. 60% of guns that are sold in Minnesota already go through a background check because they go through licensed dealers. Unfortunately, there's a loophole right now.
At a news conference in St. Paul, Latz and other DFL lawmakers presented their case for tougher gun laws. They cited a nationwide study from 2009 through 2016 where approximately 42% of mass shootings produced evidence that the gunman displayed warning signs before carrying out the attack. Today also at the Capitol was a gun owners lobby day, and a group of them showed up to hear about the proposed changes. They say these ideas won't do any good.
Legally, we need to work with the mental health issues, and that seems to be the basis of a lot of it. The other thing is it's a breakdown in families. So when you start put those two things together, you rebuild families and work with the mental health, then you solve the problems.
Now, according to a Minneapolis Star-Tribune survey in 2018, 9 out of 10 Minnesota residents supported criminal background checks on all private firearm purchases. The poll sampled people from both political parties, those in urban and rural areas, and gun owners and those who don't own guns. Shannon?
All right, thank you, Eric. The Minnesota State Patrol is investigating a serious crash in Brooklyn Park. The accident happened around 10 Thursday morning. A large commercial truck was driving north on Highway 252 and was about to get onto Highway 610 when he lost control, went off the road, and crashed into a sound barrier. The man was trapped in the vehicle for several minutes. Emergency crews eventually pulled him out of the truck. Officials say the accident is weather-related.
It was related to the bad road conditions. The wind was blowing and kept the roads pretty slick all morning, so it was a tough commute. And as traffic got the speeds up as it lightened up around 10 o'clock, unfortunately the truck came around the corner of the overpass of 252 and lost control.
The man was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Crews had to close the ramp from northbound Highway 252 to westbound Highway 610 until they removed the damaged truck. Minnesota has become the land of 10,000 lawbreakers, at least when it comes to texting and driving. Law enforcement cited more than 9,500 drivers last year for texting while driving. That's a 30% increase over the year before. Citations have actually increased 6 straight years. Lawmakers are currently debating legislation that would make Minnesota the next state to ban drivers from using handheld phones and electronic devices. You may want to stop and look at what's missing at certain intersections in Crystal. Dozens of intersections recently underwent changes. Reporter Meredith Hackler shows us how the adjustments are supposed to make the area safer.
If you've traveled down Fairview Avenue North here in Crystal, you've probably noticed there's a few less stop signs. Now that might make you concerned that there's going to be increased speeds or that there's going to be more accidents, but city officials say that's not the case.
It was a matter of really going out and just looking in every individual intersection and kind of making the decision on a case-by-case basis of should we make an adjustment or not.
As of right now, the city of Crystal has removed 65 stop signs, but they aren't in high traffic areas.
Most of our residential streets carry under 1,000 cars a day. To put that in perspective, around 800 cars a day during the peak hour, so that evening rush hour, you typically will see roughly a car a minute on average. And so that's a lot of downtime where there's not a lot of traffic moving through the area.
The stop signs that were removed are in areas that weren't needed based on standards set by the Minnesota Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. Removing the signs will help drivers save on fuel cost and wear and tear on their cars. However, city officials say removing the stop signs will also make the intersection safer.
From a safety standpoint, there are some studies that suggest that uncontrolled intersections can be safer, and the theory on that is that drivers are hopefully being a little more cautious because they don't necessarily know if they have the right of way or not.
Overall, the hope is that when drivers are traveling through residential areas, that they are using caution and minimizing distractions. Now, some of the stop signs on the side streets have been updated to let you know that cross traffic doesn't stop. But city officials also wanted us to let you know that if you're a pedestrian and you travel on these areas, to wear reflective gear like this so vehicles can see you and you'll be safer. In Crystal, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
Thank you, Meredith. Home sales continue to slow in the Northwest Metro, which is not unexpected in the winter. However, what is somewhat unexpected is that the prices continue to rise. Take a look at how prices rose throughout the CCX viewing area. In Plymouth, the median sale increased 4% last month to $370,000. In Maple Grove, the median sale price spiked nearly 10%. And in Brooklyn Park, prices jumped more than 10%. There's a reason that prices continue to rise. The market is still tight, with a shortage of homes for entry-level buyers. In Plymouth, more homes are proposed for the northwest part of the city. A development called Westin Ridge proposes 125 single-family homes in an area south of the Maple Grove border and east of Medina. That's near Meadow Ridge Elementary School in Plymouth, which just opened in 2016. The Plymouth Planning Commission expects to take up the proposal at its February 6th meeting. The city of Brooklyn Park continues to make progress toward revamping the clubhouse at Edinburgh USA Golf Course. The city selected D'Amico and partners to begin managing food and event services at the clubhouse. In addition, the clubhouse restaurant Gervin Grill will get a makeover and a new name. It will become the Brooklyn, which is described as a comfortable, clubby American bistro. Staff stressed the importance of renovations moving along quickly, since every day the restaurant is closed is a day the city loses revenue. Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Quad Communities is holding its 4th annual bowling fundraiser this Sunday. Organizers say without it, they wouldn't be able to serve veterans.
Well, we have this fundraiser primarily so that we can offer services such as lawn mowing, help with costs of snow removal, sometimes furniture, sometimes help with veterinary bills. Any number of requests come in, bus cards.
This is video from last year's event. Registration opens at 10:30 at the New Hope Bowl. Participants will bowl 2 games and then head on over to the Crystal VFW for food, fun, and prizes. Organizers are hoping to raise between $4,000 and $5,000.
It's important because veterans tend to fall between the cracks of some of the government programs, and even though there's aid available, sometimes the wheels of bureaucracy turn a little bit too slow to be responsive.
The event costs $22 per person, and for more information, you can contact the Crystal VFW. Still ahead, what helps students at a Maple Grove school get past tough times? Plus, not even a shattered glass board can slow down the Maple Grove boys hockey team against Hill Murray. That story later in sports. But first, not exactly comfortably numb. Dangerous cold is expected to last through next week. Today's School Spotlight focuses on a school that gained statewide attention last June. That's when Heritage Christian Academy won the state Class A baseball championship. But as Neil Persley discovers in today's School Spotlight, there's something else that makes the school stand out.
On the surface, it appears like Heritage Christian Academy is like other good schools in our area.
What I would say is that it is so absolutely stellar academically here.
Heritage Christian is a pre-K through 12 school. Students test 1 to 2 grade levels above state averages, and they have a 100% graduation rate, something most public schools can't claim.
As I speak to alumni, they will tell me time and again how well they write, spell, and compute in a superior way compared to their college peers.
If someone's struggling with something, there's 3 or 4 people right there to help them out. So I've really found that as a blessing, and also our teachers and our staff, they really care about us, and they invest a lot of their time and their life into each one of us.
Yes, they offer all the sports, music, and arts you'd expect, but walking the halls, being in the school, it was clear there is a difference.
Our motto or mission would be to equip minds, engage hearts, and encounter Jesus Christ. Truly, on those three principles, all of what we do needs to grow out of that, needs to flow out of that.
Heritage has been great. I've been here since I was in 1st grade, so I've been here for 12 years now, and all the teachers have been so kind and supportive. They have helped me become the person I am today, and I definitely would not be the person I am today without them.
From Heritage Christian Academy in Maple Grove, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Still ahead, the Rhythmic Way students at Meadow Lake Elementary in New Hope get ready to learn. But first, the Breck boys basketball team is piling up the wins in a great season this year. John Jacobson is in next.
The Maple Grove boys hockey team is hoping to reach the state tournament for the 3rd time in program history this season. The Crimson met a team that's been a regular tournament entrant through the years as they face Bill Lechner and Hill Murray. Out of 4-on-3 power play, Hill Murray's Joe Polonachek sneaks one past the goalie and in, and the Pioneers lead at 1-0 after 1. Maple Grove takes over in the second. Ethan Elias threads a shot through traffic, and the Crimson pull within 2-1. Kyle Kukinen then makes a great move and sends it to Cal Thomas for a great shot under the crossbar. Maple Grove ties it up 2-2. And check this out. The skate of Hill Murray's Axel Begley shatters the plexiglass after he absorbs a check from Sam Jacobs. That delays the game for about 15 minutes. Back to hockey after play resumes. Pioneers turn it over, and Trevor Kukinen scores here for a 3-2 Crimson lead. Maple Grove adds an empty netter late in the game, and they secure a 4-2 win. The Breck boys basketball team is enjoying a very strong season this winter. As Jay Wilcox reports, the Mustangs are shooting for big things.
There's a lot to like about this season for Breck. The Mustangs enter Thursday's game with a 12-3 record, and they're ranked number 6 in Class 2A.
Yes, I'm happy with it. We've gone through a lot of, adversity, ups and downs, especially in the beginning of the season with just injuries and people just coming back from different sports. So I'm really proud with how we've been playing this past, in the first half of the season.
Defensively, I think we're really aggressive and we get after teams from the jump. So I think our defense is carrying us so far.
Colorado State signee David Roddy is one of the state's premier players, averaging 29 points, 16 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists. But you don't become a great team by relying on one star.
He can make all the other guys around him better, and that's what he tries to do. He tries, good leadership qualities on and off the floor. And then on the floor, like I said, he's not a guy where, he can go for 40, maybe 50 a night, but he's trying to make his teammates better because he knows he's going to need those guys in order to go far.
The good news, Breck is a very good team. The bad news, the Mustangs are in the ultra-competitive Section 5 AA. Their path to a possible trip to state includes number 2 Minneapolis North and number 4 Maranatha, along with other tough squads like defending section champ Brooklyn Center, Providence Academy, and Holy Family.
We know that to make it to state we'd have to beat some really good teams, but that's okay with us because if we're going to state, we want to go and try and win. So having to beat those teams to get there would prove how good of a team we are, we feel like.
It won't be easy, but Breck will be in the hunt for a section title. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Mustangs host Class 2A's top-ranked team, Minnehaha Academy, next Tuesday in a game you can see live here on CCX. Finding fish at the right depth in ice fishing is a big factor when your line is in the water. Terry Tuma explains in this week's CCX Ice Fishing Tip.
We have such a tendency to jig, the lift, drop, the lift, drop, the lift, drop. So many times, in fact, I just was out fishing for bluegills, and that tiny little bit of lift, drop spooked every single fish. What we really need to do and understand is using your Vexilars, working with the jigging actions to really trigger and attract these fish. It has to do both. It's not just attract and then trigger. But what we have to do, and instead of that lift and drop like we so many times do, what I'll do many times, I'll just take my forefinger and just tick the rod in this fashion. Also, is just take my other hand with the one that's holding the rod and just tick the rod blank above the handle itself, and the other is just take and squeeze the rod handle. Those are very subtle movements in the water column. Many times is just bring it up to where these fish are and then just hold it. The other question I had recently, again at a seminar, we were in Iowa, and this individual asked me, well, what do you do when you mark a fish and you just can't get it to go? What you need to do is bring that lure up maybe 3 to 4 inches and see if that fish rises following that lure. Then if it still doesn't go, then bring it up another 3 or 4 inches. If you still can't get it to go, then do not waste any more time. Drop back down and then target another fish.
Thanks, Terry. That's all for sports. Shannon's back with more in a moment.
Special visitors stopped by to see students at Minnesota Excellence in Learning Academy in Maple Grove. The young learners were happy to meet the Timberwolves mascot Crunch. Pre-K through 3rd graders also checked out the Fast Break Foundation Bookmobile. Students could pick out a brand new book to take home. The small Maple Grove charter school doesn't have a library, and most of the student body is on free or reduced lunch, so today's visit was very much needed.
We have been going through the process of trying to raise funds to have a library, and we all know the importance of early literacy for students. And so in the meantime, while we're trying to build that library, we're making sure that students have access to literacy in their hands and at home.
School officials say they are very grateful for the visit. Finally, students at Meadow Lake Elementary in New Hope have a new way to build spirit and develop a good attitude. Each day of the week, a group of students performs a different rap about learning.
They walk in tired, groggy. After doing the rap, they walk out, they're ready for their day.
And we are ready to say goodbye, but before we do, here's what Meadow Lake Elementary students put together. Enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow.